I still remember the way the words hung in the air the first time I heard them. But what I'm about to tell you, it's not a simple story. This isn't about a midlife cliché or a bored housewife chasing excitement. It's about the kind of shift that sneaks up on you. The kind that begins quietly and stays with you forever. My name is Claire Bennett. I'm 59 years old. I've had a full life. Marriage. Children. The long rhythm of real partnership. My husband, Thomas, and I have been together for 33 years. We met in college, built a life in Santa Fe, New Mexico, a house filled with warmth, arguments, growth, love. He's a good man. I still love him. So when he left for his annual hiking retreat with his college buddies, I barely blinked. We'd done this routine for years, his time in the mountains, my time to breathe. But that time, something was different. I didn't expect David, Thomas's best friend, the man who introduced us decades ago. He'd always been around, holidays, summer cookouts, birthdays. Familiar, steady, safe. But when he showed up at my door that afternoon, the air around him felt or changed. I was curled in my reading chair, a breeze sliding in through the open window, when there was a knock. The sun outside was soft, honey-colored. I wasn't expecting anyone, especially not David. He smiled, easygoing and slightly disheveled. Rolled-up sleeves, faded jeans. That same boyish grin he's always had. "Hey, Claire," he said. "Thought I'd check in. See how you're holding up with Thomas gone." I let him in. Without even thinking. It wasn't strange. He'd stopped by before, sometimes just to chat. But that day, it felt charged. We sat at the kitchen table like we had 100 times. Talked about the weather, the kids, some new documentary he'd seen. But beneath it all, there was a hum. Something unspoken. It was in the way he looked at me, lingered. In the softness of his voice when he asked if I was really doing okay. In how I noticed the way his hands moved when he lifted his glass. Silly details. Stupid, even. But they caught me off guard. And then, our eyes met. Really met. And I felt something. Not lust. Not fantasy. More like being seen. Like he saw a version of me I'd tucked away years ago. "Claire," he said quietly, "is everything okay? You seem different." I hesitated. My throat caught. "I'm fine," I whispered. Even though I wasn't. Because in that moment, something in me had shifted. And I knew, he felt it too. He stood, walked over to the window. His voice lowered. "You ever think about how things could have gone if life had taken a different turn?" I froze. My heart pounded. There it was. The thought neither of us had ever said out loud. He turned back toward me, and his eyes, God, they were so open. "You and Thomas, you're solid." "I've always admired that," he said. "But sometimes, life throws you a curveball." I didn't respond. I didn't know how. That moment didn't explode into something dramatic. But it stayed with me. Even after Thomas came home and life fell neatly back into place. The dishes, the bills, the routines. All back to normal, mostly. But David lingered in the quiet moments. In the space between small talk and silence. Even in bed, beside my husband. He didn't visit much after that. But when he did, the weight between us still hung there. Unspoken. Heavy. Real. Then, weeks later, I was up late reading. Thomas had fallen asleep. The phone buzzed. David. Hey, you up? He asked. His voice light, but underneath, something else. Yeah, I said. Just reading. I was nearby. Thought I'd stop in. If you're alone. I paused. Then answered. I am. He arrived 10 minutes later. We didn't sit at the kitchen table this time. We sat on the couch. Closer. He turned toward me. I haven't stopped thinking about that day. He said. What we said. What we didn't. I looked at him. I don't know what I'm supposed to feel, I told him, honestly. He reached for my hand. I didn't pull away. We sat there in silence. Not awkward. Just full. Full of everything we weren't saying. He didn't push. He didn't cross a line. He just stayed. And in that space, something surfaced. Not love. Not betrayal. Honesty. Not about him. About me. That night didn't end in a kiss. No scandal. No regret. But it was a turning point. A moment that opened a door inside me I didn't know had been locked. Everything outside looked the same in the days that followed. But inside, I was changed. David is still part of our lives. Not in the same way. But I carry that moment with me now. Not with shame. Not with guilt. As a quiet reminder. Sometimes love doesn't demand fireworks. Sometimes it just asks for truth. And in that truth, I found a freedom I didn't even know I needed.